Hey, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division. I like mine better. From the historic White Center Depot, welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Welcome to the Twin Cities Division.
Good evening, Ken.
Good evening, Tom. How are you?
I am well. We're on coming close to the operators retreat.
We are, and aren't you leaving for Springfield?
I am, and I think I'm taking Mr. Borowski and Mr. Sewell with me too. I don't know if anyone else is going. I'll pitch myself tomorrow evening on some Split Rock channel. A guy and me and Heath from Humanity City will be hosting a pre-Springfield show to see who's going and who wants to meet up there for dinner or snacks or any time after that. So check out the Split Rock channel tomorrow night at 7. But
Cool.
for now, it's all TCD. So
Yep.
We got, wow, it looks like we had over 30 people in here already, Ken. We must be popular now.
Really cool. And you
I
know,
think
it's
it's,
good.
I think it's
because,
our guest.
we got a lot going on this next couple months, so we should get on to it real quick.
Yes, we do. And so let's let's get on with that. So here we go. Why don't you tell us what's coming up, especially tonight?
All right. We're just going to gloss over this one quickly. Greg Dahl is the chair for our operations retreat. I know that we've been getting folks in signing up, so make sure you hop to it and sign up. So do that quick. Breakfast in the morning, 2 operating sessions, $10 is a donation, and sign up. So,
Yeah, send us an email. Send us an email and you're in. We have more layouts than you guys can sign up for. So
that's right.
sign up.
That's right.
This is so much fun. It's a great thing. Greg's going to be here to tell us. It's going to be wonderful. And then the modelers meet.
Modelers meet's coming up right after that. Still only $15. It's going to be a great, great event. A lot of fun. It's where modelers come to meet, share, learn, and having a great, great time. So it's going to be in Plymouth again, where it's been the last 5 years. Big parking lot, free parking, lots of fast food in the area. But Friday night, we're going to have a great slideshow by Jim Brown. And I'm really looking forward to it because, you know, we've seen a lot of slides, and you see a lot of them on YouTube or Facebook, and Jim has not digitized his slides yet. So this is an old-fashioned slideshow. So you'll be able to smell the ozone coming off of the slide projector. You'll be able to hear as the slides progress. It's going to be really a nostalgic trip.
Yeah, that'll be great. We can have a bet over and under on how many are upside down or backwards. So that'll be good. So
we can. Sawdust City Hauler coming to Eau Claire, Wisconsin in May. Tremendous event. It's $35, $45 for non-NMRA members, $85 a night for TLR guests. Speeder trip, which is limited to the first 70 people, so sign up quickly. Carson Park train ride behind live steam, logging museums, clinics. Boy, Greg Thoney's got a great clinic list already signed up, so that looks great. Celebration room, banquet, and awards night, lucky ticket, and this hotel is built all around a little bar. It's right by the Leinenkugel's brewery, and there's going to be some kind of a special sip and whatever night on Friday night, so you can take a tour of some other alcoholic kind of event. But it is Wisconsin, so
that's right. And we will be serving Leinenkugels until you aren't able to spell Leinenkugels. Then we'll cut you off.
That's right.
There. So,
absolutely.
but yeah, so there's a lot of non-rail tours, a lot of great things to see. It's a wonderful little city, wonderful restaurants, just about everything you could imagine. So
absolutely.
I hope you guys all show up. It's less than a 2-hour drive, right down 94.
It is. And what did we have? 135 last year, and I'm sure we'll have more than that this year.
I'm sure everybody want to go there. And thank our friends over at Scale Models for their support. Head over there, get your paint, styrene, magazines, Hub Hobby as well, north side and the south side.
Yep.
So we thank you all for that.
Yes, we do. So without much to do, you know, I'm disappointed Greg's coming, but we're not getting Hops. Hops is not making an appearance for us. So, but that's okay. You want to start right with Greg, because we've got a lot of pictures to show.
Yeah, let's go feed them to the lions here. And
absolutely.
You guys have questions about the operators retreat? Get them ready for Greg. We'll post them up there. Yeah, yep. And Ken and I on Greg will try and answer them. And if not, we'll find William Sampson. Yeah, we'll make something up too. That's always what I do best. So
that's right.
We'll see Greg. There we are.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, gentlemen. How are you this evening?
Oh, somebody else here? I thought it was just us, Tom.
You're doing good.
I do have to ask a question before we get going on this. So in that intro, there was all those photos, and there was one of Bob Rivard and William Sampson.
Yes.
And I'm interested in why are they the only two that have a beer? Everybody else doesn't have one.
They're the only ones that got the memo. You can drink at the conventions.
Oh,
And in Wisconsin, you can drink at breakfast.
yeah.
I think it's a state law.
I think it's
I'll ask
required.
Pat Tony. I'm required. I'll ask Pat Tony.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, you know, for the operators retreat, we're featuring pie, and I guess if this operators retreat was in Eau Claire, we'd be featuring Langenkugels.
There's nothing that stops you, Ken. I don't think anybody's gonna.
nothing.
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
if you want pie for breakfast, that's perfectly fine. You're an adult.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, I see Michael Thorson's in the house, and you know, he gave us that nice presentation from Rapid City. I wonder if he's coming to the operators retreat, or maybe the modelers meet, or what do you suppose? Is he going to come to the convention? You know, you're a star, Michael. You got to come to one of those or all.
Yes. Yes.
So
Western South Dakota.
yeah,
That's where the hills are. It's not the billiard table. I think there's hills out there.
yeah, yeah.
That's a long drive, man.
It is. I've
That's why
heard they had at least 4 presidents out there, so it's just kind of nice.
Yeah, that's why you should come for the convention, because he could come on Thursday and have come on Wednesday, have Thursday, Friday, Saturday to enjoy himself, and Sunday to recover. So good.
Recovery's gonna be good.
Yep. So
So-
what other questions do you have, Greg?
That was it. I was only concerned about the beer.
Okay. All right.
All right, good. Well, let's get on with it then, Tom.
All right. So here we go. Let me get this off the screen. So, Greg, what do you got planned here? We're going to have what type of operations here? I got car cards, way bills.
So, well, let's back up a little bit. It's like, what's the whole purpose of doing this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, you know, I think everybody's been in this situation where, you know, either they're new in town, or they're new to operations, or they're just, you know, there's a lot of lone wolf model railroaders out there. And there's some guys who, you know, I'd like to get into operations, but I just don't know anybody. I don't know what layouts, you know, and a lot of times there are layouts, you know, the layouts of, well, we take 5 operators and I've got a clique of 7 guys, the same 5, you know, rotate around every week. So what we're trying to do is for people who are new to operations, it's like, I've never operated before, or all I've done is shove cars back and forth, or they don't know how to get involved in operation. How do I, you know, I've heard about this, you know, on these layouts, but I'm not one of the special few that get invited. So how do I get into operations? And so we put this on mainly for them, for people that want to find out, either they're not involved in the clique, or they know about operations, but they just, you know, it's just, I don't want to be the one new guy amongst 10 people, because, you know, and then, you know, you're going to derail something, you get nervous, you put the car in the wrong spot, you know, I'm standing at the fascia, I don't know which way is east, which way is west, you know, how do I get to St. Cloud from here? You know, it's like, I don't even, you know, do I go through the helix? Do I don't go through the helix? So this was all put together the first time around to sort of, you know, tamper down those expectations and just introduce you to operations and try to ensure that you have a good time. That's what we're really after. So that's kind of what we started with, and that's what we're continuing to go with. That would really, if it would make me the happiest if we could find people who've never operated before, introduce them to operations, and they come away at the end of the day going, this is cool. So, you know, it's hard to explain. I mean, we've got all these static pictures and we're talking about operations.
Right. That's right.
The beauty of model railroading is, you know, is when stuff moves. You know, that's one of the great things about it. You know, compared to, say, the armor or the airplane guys who build beautiful models, but they just sit there.
I think operations is one of the most difficult things in our hobby to project over a video. And I know that operations videos, you know, on the YouTube channel or other ones don't do as well as the how-tos. And it's basically because I think the people who are watching it and not there don't have, Joe Fugate once said, you don't have any skin in the game, you know? And that's why when you have a throttle in your hand and you got your car cards and you got you're really intense on what you're doing, that's the enjoyable part to me.
Yeah.
That's when you feel, and it's so hard to convey that, you know,
Well,
versus
part of it is-
watching hockey on TV or being at that game almost. You know?
Well, part of it is being part of the crew too, right? You know, operations generally is a team effort. And so, you know, it's a different, like you said about hockey, it's a difference between sitting there and watching it versus going out and playing it. Right? It's because now all of a sudden you're part of the team. A lot of times maybe, you know, you're trying to move a way freight from, you know, one town to the next while the next guy's waiting for a car for you, and stuff like that. So that's sort of the fun of it too. If you get involved with a good crew, you know, people that are fun to be with, then that just makes it even that much more enjoyable.
You know, and this is so the second half of this is like I just posted. If you are a veteran operator or you've been to a couple sessions and you kind of get it, this is for you as well. This is a networking day to meet layout owners and to meet other operators and exchange information and get invited to layouts maybe you've never seen or never done. A lot of our layouts operate regularly, and we're always looking for extra board people. You know, it's like, hey, I can take 5. Only 4 showed up. Hey, Tom, can you fit in? Or, you know, Ken or Greg. And this is what we're looking for. So it's a good way to show off that you have the social skills enough to come operate. And, well, hey, we want, you know, I want Jim on my list. You know, I want Dwight on my list. And nobody wants Heath on their list ever. So it's just kind of one of those. Is he still here? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways.
Well, there is a permanent ban on anyone named Tom, so I feel sorry for Toms out there.
That's why I go by Split Rock. They don't know me.
Yeah, then they don't know. Well, you know, I think Tom, you coined the term the first time around we did this. It's like, you know, our job is to get you invited to the session. It's your job to get invited back.
Right.
So you want to come in, you know, this is Minnesota. You probably want to bring a pair of slippers or a pair of house shoes with you, right? You don't want to kick the puppy when you go in there. You know, you want to maybe take a shower before you show up, you know, things like that. You know, I can send you a list if you need it, you know, so like, but yeah, that is another, that's a great point. That is another thing that we try to do is building on that list of people that then you can. There was a fellow that came to one of my sessions, I think last time, and he was a fantastic operator. I put him right on my list of people to call then when he shows up. So that's, you know, and that's how you get invited back too, just being a social person that with a minimum of skills.
Right. Even the skill level, like our new slide here, every place you go will have instructions. And every place will have the layout owner that'll be glad to answer your questions.
And most layouts will also have coaches.
Yeah, they'll have helpers. And we won't, like Greg's very good, he won't let you be in a position that's beyond your capabilities. We're not going to, if you've never operated before, please do not expect to be the dispatcher, you know, on a major railroad. We'll work you up to that. Okay. So we want you comfortable in what you've done, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there are a few exceptions where, you know, like you said, dispatcher is probably a good one where we probably have somebody who's experienced with that railroad, you know, doing it. But most of the, in fact, all of the layouts that we have, you know, in the hopper for people to go to are all veteran owners They know what it takes to have a good operating session. You know, this isn't some breakdown session where, you know, they've never hosted anybody before. And the other thing I've told the layout owners too is, you know, you are getting a crew of people that have not operated your layout before. So you probably, you know, this isn't your normal Friday night crew or Tuesday morning crew coming over. So, and I'm not, you know, putting anybody's skills down. I'm just saying, I've told the hosts, you know, maybe you want to look at your operations and tailor them a little bit for the newbies that are coming, you know.
Yes. I think William Sampson and his father on their wonderful Great Northern layout do a fine job of, they have wave rates and they call them the light and heavy. I think that's what they do. Is that it, Greg and Ken? I think, and if you think you can do all this stuff and you wanted an adventure, they will give you the heavy list. And if you're just kind of like, hey, I'm kind of new, let me learn my way around the layout, take the light list. And it's a great way to learn the industries and how to switch and stuff. It's a lot less intensive work, but it's still fun, you know.
Yeah. So.
And I think like here, so you'll get train packets. This is Dave Hamilton's wonderful CBQ layout. And like I said, an apron. Greg talked about house shoes, you know, be polite. And an apron is really cool. I saw the OPSIG guys here. Join the OPSIG. I've got a slide for them. It's the best $10 you'll ever spend. It's $10 a year, $10 an entire year. You get their magazine. You can get on their Sunday Zoom calls. You can buy their swag. You can get aprons to put car cards in and take home with you and mail back to the host. Is that how it goes, Greg? Is that?
Yeah, that's so. I print my own car cards for my layout because of that. It's just like, well, fine, take them home. I'll just print another batch. You know?
Yeah.
But the OPSIG, they sell those fancy swag aprons still, don't they? That those are pretty slick. Though
I think we should get those.
I love those.
Put some pins on it. I think we need pins on it.
It's kind of like having one of those new Thermos brand water cups.
Oh,
then you know you're really in.
Yeah, then you know you're in. No, so chiming in. Okay, light versus heavy. You don't have to run every train, and don't take offense at that either. You know, if you're new to that, or if you're, you know, limited in skills like me, and they send you out with a caboose and one flat car, but otherwise, so I like that. Greg has talked to the layout owners to make this simple. And it was like, Dave, we'll go back to this, is that you will be given a packet. Greg, you have some of these too. Or Ken, I think it tells you your engine number, the decoder number, your caboose, and any information. So we're not just going to hand you a throttle and say you're on the westbound local and go off to Poughkeepsie, you know. It's a lot of fun.
Well, and I think that comes from having, you know, like I said, layout owners that have hosted sessions before. So you know what you're looking for, right? And there's a wide variety. I mean, here's the switch list. You know, we had the car cards up before, and here's the switch list that come down. And, you know, so you can get exposed to other layouts and to operations. So, you know, that's another benefit from doing something like this is, you know, if you, let's say you have two friends that have layouts and you go to them every week or every month. If you go to different layouts, you see different things that other people are doing, and you go, you know, I've been using car cards my whole time. You know, these switch lists, this looks pretty slick. You know, so then you start talking to the owner about, well, how hard is it to set this up? You know, is this a 10-month project, or can I have this done in a couple of weeks? And look how he's got that schematic on the side. So when I'm switching, now I know, you know, where is the next town or the next industry. So
yeah, maps are your friend. And usually I always ask, where is our map? And then the layout owner will point right in front of me or something. There. So, you know, Dan Dosa has that, or it might be on the back of a clipboard. But William Sampson does this, and like GMRI, like Greg says, it's kind of the reverse. You put a lot of work in early, but you reap rewards of the computer generating every session. You know.
Somebody asked about what's the name of the program that can generate switch lists or helps you make car cards and waybills?
Oh yeah.
Well, there's a couple ways. So JMRI, that's what we're looking. This is from William Sampson's layout, I believe. We're looking at on the screen. I believe he uses JMRI, if I'm not mistaken. But Dan Dosa uses something called, I think it's just called Switchlist.
Yeah, just Switchlist. It's a Mac only program now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Although they are looking for somebody to help them put it
Right.
for an IBM compatible. But so those are the two. And then for the car cards and waybills, this is how dinosaur I am. I generate my car cards and waybills from Excel. So it's a very sort of tedious and manual process sometimes, but I only have to generate them whenever Tom walks away with half my car cards.
Yeah,
Do you create those on your Commodore 64?
No, I have an Atari, and
Oh.
then I use that.
I love that Atari. The largest layout. Well, we still don't know how many will be present.
Yeah. So right now, my list, the largest layout of as far as number of operators takes is 7. So
Yeah.
That's, I mean, a lot of, and this is something I've noticed, and maybe this is getting off the topic, in the hobby of people actually going towards smaller layouts, just simply with the 3 to 5 to 7 operators, as opposed to the layouts that take 30 or take 25. And I've talked to those owners before. Some of those it's hard to, and that's, when we talked about, finding people for your extra board, you got a layout that takes 20, 25 people. It's hard to get a crew together.
Right.
Everybody's
who has time
busy
for that.
right?
Yeah, let alone finding 7 or 5.
Yeah.
So, anybody designing a layout for ops, think about that. Like, you got a layout for 2 people and then you can supervise, you're good to go,
Right. Yeah, particularly if you have a layout where the jobs are not interdependent, where you can run a couple jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's genius. Greg here has a wonderful layout like that you're not interdependent. Dan Dosa has a
Yep.
wonderful
Yep.
layout that you're not interdependent on the other guy and you can finish or, slower. I was working the other day with Ken Borowski and he worked one side of Dan's layout. He got 2 jobs done by the time I was cranking out the Hiawatha elevators. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so like the largest layout, we will have large layouts. If this continues to go, there are layouts in the Twin Cities that can take a dozen or more. We have probably 30 to 40 layouts at Estro, Binish, and Rich on a list that operate in the cities, with 10 more coming online within the next year,
Yeah.
So yeah, the switch list you can mark up, unlike the car cards. These, get out there and if you're slow like me, draw a line to it. I delivered that.
Somebody asked, I'm monitoring the chat, but I'm not logged in.
Okay, yeah, no, go ahead.
Will layouts be assigned prior to event days? Bonanza Valley and Western. Is there information? Yeah, there you go. They've been sent out prior to prepare the newbie. So this is one thing I wanted to point out too, and that is we're getting together. We're trying this time. We're going to do Perkins early in the morning. And now Ken just walked away because he's disgusted the fact he's got to get up by 7:30 in the morning.
He's retired. He's at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's it. But so we're gonna meet there, and that's when we hand out the layout assignments, and that's when we'll do that. So, and then we'll also have the layout owners there as well. So we give the layout owners 15 minutes, 20 minutes to meet with their crew, crew number 1 or the morning crew, and a lot of times they'll have samples of their paperwork. They'll kind of explain the gist of the layout, etc. And then you sort of round. Then you go, like a classroom. You go to your second layout owner, and then they sort of give the same spiel again into the next crew. So it gives you a little bit ahead of time of what to doing. Most of these layouts, there's not a 5-hour briefing, or there's not a packet of this is why I built my layout in 1956 on October 13th. In Ackley, Iowa, because, and then you better not wear tennis shoes because those weren't invented until 1960, that type of thing.
Yeah. There's no quiz. There won't be a
there's
written
no quiz.
test. It's just kind of give you they'll get the address. They'll give you a heads up on what door to use and
Yeah.
where to park if you're on a street. And and you can request something. Maybe this is something we should say too, is when we contact you, are you looking to learn a specific thing?
Yeah. I mean,
and I saw yeah.
Oh yeah, this is a really good point from.
Yeah.
And I've found too that if you send people a packet of 5 pages of information, one person out of 20 will read it and they'll read the first paragraph. Nobody reads anything. So, although Ken Borowski, I talked to him last time. He was going over to William Sampson Sr.'s layout. He's like, I watched the YouTube videos and I was studying how the track goes. Really? The first time I was there, I just showed up and said, "Give me a throttle."
Give me a throttle. Yeah. So I like Sydney. That's true. I think a lot of people do you think you're going to wreck something. You're not.
No,
you're not. You can't be a bad operator. There's going to be derailments. There's going to be trains facing each other. There's going to be. We'll try not to keep the trains from hitting the floor. That'd be good. But
That'd be good.
Anything other than that, there's nothing you can't fix. There's no one going to be yelled at for going the wrong way or the wrong switch. We'll probably laugh and give you a nickname.
Yeah,
I think that's what I have 10 nicknames. I think I have a nickname for each layout now. But yeah, I would love to have Sydney and her husband come out here to Minrail. Twin Cities is a model railroad mecca.
It is.
And I think most people realize too that if the plastic car doesn't get to the plastic industry with its invisible load, nobody's going to get fired over that. So
yeah.
I can't. 3-beat finish. I'm sorry. I've lost all concentration now.
Yep. Sydney said ran over brakeman. That's standard. I had a friend of mine out east named Jim Lincoln, and every time he went to an op session to do something, somebody ran him over. He was, and he's a real life conductor for like CSX, and he'd go to an op session and be switching it every time someone would run him over. I thought that's funny. But yeah, here you'll have yard and industry work clearly laid out. This is Dave Hamilton's beautiful Burlington route with all this stuff around it.
You'll never see the yard that clean, so don't worry about it.
I think he staged this. He's in chat so he could defend himself, but I think he staged it. And this is his layout. Hey, these layouts are beautiful. Do some rail fanning. Tell the host that you like the scene. You can ask him how he did something, but don't get caught up too much in that to take away from the ops. But enjoy the work. People put a lot of work in these layouts. A lot. And we like showing them off,
Yeah, I think just a general appreciation of the hard work that's gone into it.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Greg. General appreciation. And so you'll get to see everything. We have, what's Borowski is a Eastern Railway bridge line. Greg runs a Midwestern layout. Dan's got downtown Minneapolis. Ken's got the Western Minnesota. I think there's other ones on there. Joe Binish is, heavy industry in Minneapolis.
Now, when it says a variety of industries, kind of a good point, particularly if you're new, you may run into places where they have the car card codes on it, like XM for boxcar, LO for covered hopper. You'll find that there's enough other information on there that will help you find the car. And again, don't worry about it. If you're not familiar with something, ask a question, you'll learn. And as we talked about earlier, you may find that, that's a nice little added piece of information I'd like to put on my layout. I learned a lot from operating at other layouts. And so I've got maps all over the place on my layout. You walk downstairs, there's a map to go to the bathroom. You go in the bathroom, there's a map to show you how to flush. I don't want to take any chances.
Yeah. Why does it just say Marines on there? That's what I want to know. But yeah, here's the op singers. Polite, and you get invited back. Dig out the manners. And I think through the industries, what you may learn is if you're designing a layout or you're in the middle of your layout or something, that you can ask the host, why are these cars going to here? And our good friend Mike Jordan, as we'll see later, was running the California produce business. So he went and got reefers, but he was getting Armor and Swift and Hormel reefers. And they were kind of saying, no, you need, fruit and vegetable reefers from Pacific Fruit Express and things like that. So if you're looking to say, okay, is this a grain hopper? Maybe the host can tell you, no, that's a cement hopper, or they use sand or potash. Try one of these. And you can hone your skills on that too.
The other thing you made a point about asking, questions. If you don't know, ask. And as a layout host, I have found that I've learned a lot from people asking questions. If something's not clear, as a layout owners generally want to know if something's not clear. I don't know which way is east and which way is west. Ask, because in the layout, you know what? There's nothing on the fascia here. That's a good point. Most of them are very accommodating. They want you to have a good time. That's the whole reason they invited you over. But then they also can improve their own layout.
Oh yeah, why do you do this? And things like that. And you'll see the layout owners like, here's Joe Binish's wonderful layout. I think that might be Greg back there in the pit of despair, but the tracks are labeled. And because where's 3-track? And well, there's a 3 there. There's a throttle or a switch throw for that. And everything is done to get you to operate easier than ask questions.
Yes.
So,
And a good point here is that Greg is a nice person, and he's not likely to assign you to the pit of despair unless he really, really, really wants to see you cry.
right. If you can prove you're a veteran, you say, hey, I've operated these layouts, but I've never been here, that's when you may get a taste, or they'll let you shadow somebody and maybe take over halfway and then, hey, come back, give it a try.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's how I always learned dispatching and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of that, there's the layouts you can learn dispatching on. I think like William Sampson's here. He's actually got active CTC. Ken Borowski, looking in front of, has track warrant control. Trying to think of other dispatchers in the Twin Cities that we have there.
Yeah, I don't know. And like we mentioned before too, I don't think nobody's going to throw you into the dispatcher role.
No.
My experience is a lot of times, especially new operators, are like, you know what, I want to learn the layout first before I end up in this.
Right.
So,
Right.
Generally, this is from Ken's layout, I think.
Right.
That's he'll find a dispatcher for that unless we have somebody we know is coming that's going to plan on doing it.
Yeah. Yep. The layout owners will usually have their own yard master and or dispatcher to make life easy on you. We want you to have fun. We don't want you to leave frustrated.
Right.
We don't want you to be, oh, I'm never doing this again. We want this to be a taste that we hook you on, so.
And there's a reason why Joe calls it the pit of despair. But we won't go into that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I saw like the opposite group is here. If it's Eric, we talked about that on a podcast, that operations is more than rules and paperwork. Okay. It's very, very social. It's very, very friendly, and it's a lot of fun. And you will see some prototype based paperwork, but it's real simple. The prototypes does it really simple and stuff too. And like William says here, it's about getting reps.
Yep.
I've done that at layouts where the first time I'm like, that's horrible. The next time I'm back, okay, I want that job again. I'm going to beat it up this time.
Not gonna fool me twice.
Not going to get me twice or 3 times, unless Ken Zeska buries my cars behind Autorex. But
well, that's because I've been there more than once and I know how to get somebody.
Yeah. Well, see, Cindy wants to learn dispatching, and I think that's great to be like, hey, come shadow someone. Now what would you do? It's a decision making game. To be a dispatcher, you just have to be a poor guesser, and your hobby has to be delaying trains. But other than that, that's the prototype dispatcher.
You're saying you have to be an ornery character? Is that
ornery character in Chain Smoke? I think that's
yeah.
what
And Colin is right. The social aspect is the key to the whole thing. I mean, you can build a layout and operate it in your own basement by yourself if you really, really want to, but it's 100 times better with a good crew.
Yeah, it's very social. It's a lot of fun, and the ribbing goes on and things like that.
Here's a fun question, because it speaks to your hosts. I've been at layouts, I think we all have, where all of a sudden something goes wrong because gremlins really like to show up when there's guests. And I think over the years, I've been to a number of layouts where all of a sudden something major goes wrong. And, that's what happens. That's life. And you'll still find ways to have fun, even if it's pushing the trains around by fingers. But, and that's where you don't want hosts to pick on you, and you don't want to pick on the host. So.
No. And to answer that question, I've actually had that problem on my layout.
Yeah.
Where we were having problems with the throttles. We had to keep plugging in. It was mainly with the radio throttles. And then, and actually I felt, everybody else like, oh, sorry, Greg, I lost control of my train again. It's like, as the host, I felt 100 times worse. I invited these people over. It's like if I invited you over for dinner and I burnt the turkey. And it's like, that's the kind of thing. So, and as a host, you get used to that stuff. You end up, having to fix stuff. I ended up replacing a bunch of stuff. Solved most of my problems. So, at least
I think one of the things too, as a host, is if you cause a derailment as a host, I let people re-rail the trains, but I want to know about it. So I can see is it the car, is it the track or the engine, what caused it. And if somebody fesses up and says, well, I ran that switch, I'm the happiest guy in the room because it's nothing I have to fix or what I did. I'm like, oh, okay, go ahead, just re-rail it. So a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to get mad if I derail. No one's mad. Everything derails. We all have those issues with Minnesota basements and temperature. We just want to know. So if you have a gondola that keeps falling off the track, we'll take that gondola off the train. Trust us.
Exactly.
Every layout owner has enough cars to replace that.
Yeah, really.
So don't tell us, hey, that coupler fell apart. Great. Here's another one. Have at it. Keep, we want you to have fun. Like Greg says, we don't want to burn the turkey for you. We will fix. Oh, that switch doesn't work here. Let me get my soldering iron quick, and you go switch that. So
at least you didn't unplug a LocoNet cable when everybody.
yeah.
William put that in the chat.
Yeah.
One LocoNet cable.
I can't believe the layout owner would do that. It's just.
What was he thinking?
He didn't even have donuts. That was the tough part.
Huge.
Yeah, I think Cindy's right. Cindy's on here that we feel embarrassed, And I think that's why layout owners, I will tell you this, layout owners really like other layout owners to come over because we get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, oh, that's going wrong. I'm sorry. No, it happens on mine. Let's keep doing this. And we'll do that with you. We'll do that with new people. You're saying, hey, it doesn't seem to be working. Is it me? It's like, no, it's not you. It's something we did.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. We're having a few guys here that have had bad experiences with operations. And I know when I was first getting started, I went on a layout operating trip, and the first job I was thrown into was like being thrown into the 50-foot pool when I just barely knew how to dog paddle. And that was a challenge. And that's really why we're doing this, is so there's no 50-foot depth, and there's life jackets all around. We want you to learn and say, that was a lot of fun. Greg made the point earlier that there are fewer and fewer people with layouts that take 15, 20, 30, 40 operators for that exact reason is, yes, there are people out there that if you don't leave the op session having a nervous breakdown and then in a cold sweat, they're not happy. But we're not trying for those kind of layouts. We're looking for a fun social event where you can learn more about the fun hobby of model railroading.
Right. Yeah. We want you to move your train and go switch or run the main line with permission. We're not going to force you to learn timetable and train orders. You do not have to know, rule 75, and you're not going to take a quiz. This whole weekend is set up to get you interested in it, and if you're interested in it, to get you involved with other layouts.
Right.
We really,
I think it makes a difference too, the fact that if you've got a bunch of new people, like I said before, and you're not the one new guy in the group of 10, it makes it a lot easier, because those other 9 guys, when you're the only new one, they've got their habits, their ways of doing things, the jobs they want to run. And all of a sudden you come in and you're kind of upsetting the apple cart a little bit. And so when you're involved, the layout owner has a crew come over, excuse me, and it's 4 or 5 new guys, and it's like everybody's in the same boat. Everybody, is a little more relaxed. There's not, and most layout owners aren't very tolerant of the one snide guy. I was at a layout one time, and it wasn't even the owner. It was like one of the other operators was like yelling at some other operator, and got to the next session, and the layout owner says, so-and-so ain't coming back. He says, I don't care how good an operator you are. I don't care how long you've been coming here. You are not coming back if you yell at one of my guests.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's my job. No.
There you go.
No, I agree. I want to treat each other. And that goes back to what Eric said, dig out the manners. We're all learning. I had a session. My wife went to attend an operation session with me, and one guy yelled at her for not getting the mythical product to the mythical factory. And I was like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
So
just get enough of that at work. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't need it in my playtime.
Yeah, I get enough of that at work. So we're just be kind to each other. It works good. So a lot of the layout will have schematic drawings around. And I believe this is Mark Amfar's beautiful Union Pacific. He models like Council Bluffs West. Greg, is that it? It's just
I think it's west from there.
And I think so. If you look at the schematic, and the next slide I have is the actual yard, and you can see it matches up. So owners put a lot of time and effort into this. So you're like, okay, where's track 3? And then you can look at these wonderful maps and see that. And Greg, you even do like a track number and a spot, correct?
Yeah. So I adopted the Southern Pacific has what they call the spin system, which is a way for them to spot cars at a specific spot. So it's not even on a given track. A given track may have 3 different places where you put a car. And so you need to know the box car needs to go to, door number 3. Well, the SP, rather than relying on somebody knowing which door, the box car plywood goes to, they actually have numbered every single spot, not only the tracks, but the spot. Okay, you're delivering this box car to 5408. And you just look, in their book, they've got a schematic, just like you showed before. And each place has a number then. And there's various other ways of doing that, but that becomes the simplest way. And then for me, what I did is each operator, so the first number in that track is the job. So as an operator, you're only worried about tracks that begin with 1, or you're only worried about tracks that begin with 2. And then I went so much further. I use car cards. I even color coded the car cards because, if you're not going to look at the numbers, you ought to have green. You should have all green car cards. And if you have something that's not green, then that's the problem.
All the same color pins.
Yeah. I was going to say the next thing, Greg, is pins.
I just when I go over to Tom's layout, I just sort the ore by color. It's red.
Yeah.
It's not red.
Yeah. Red, not red. That's basically it. You can run any job on my layout unless you're colorblind. Then you can't run the. But yeah, so we want schematics. We'll teach you how to, if you haven't seen the DCC, we'll have a quick instructions on that, how to acquire an engine, you know, how to dial in. And if you have any issues, let us know if the battery's dying, things like that. Yeah, we're here to help. We want this to be good. We want to grow this. We would love to do this more than once a year. We would love to have this turn into what we used to call spring rail, which was min rail, but just for the local residents. And basically we started it for the layout owners because as a layout owner, we never got to go to the other layouts that were on min rail.
Yeah.
You know, and so we kind of said, well, Greg and I have never been over to that. Can we go around your layout and then you can come, you know, and it was a great thing. So we said, well, now let's invite newbies.
Yep.
And I think that Sydney posted something here too, that, you know, maybe this is something we have to do is invite the spouses or the partners sometime just to, so they know what we do in these basements. Then they'll.
That's an excellent point. Yeah.
Yeah. My grandkids love running. My grandkids can operate. My wife loves it. My granddaughters just love it. They love it. I tell them, okay, these color cars are, they switch away.
Well, your grandkids probably listen to instructions better than most of us do.
There's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let me see what else we got. What else are we going to do here? We got, well, yeah, beware the troublemakers. We picked out this guy just to.
Only because he's not here to defend himself.
He's not here to defend himself. This is Mr. Jordan working the arrival here at Council Bluffs or Omaha. It's Council Bluffs, I believe, Iowa.
I think it's Council Bluffs, yeah.
But you can see here's a layout that takes easily 7-8 guys, Greg, eight people, I should say. You know, I mean, he has 2 or 3 people in the yard, way freights, main lines, dispatcher, interchange. Yeah. That is Seth and Jim in the picture. It is. This was this pre-min rail?
This might have been a min rail.
Oh, I think it was River Rail, and they stopped in the Twin Cities early. And this is right before the gentleman all the way on the right of the picture is Seth Newman, wonderful guy. And the next move he made, if you see by his right hand, there's a Union Pacific 484 steam engine that had an issue with his elbow. So we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Oh, poor guy.
I know the poor guy. He's so good. And so, like I said, this is so easy that even Ken can do it. So
there you go. Old artillery guy.
Old artillery guy. He's on some wonderful layout, dragging in a whole bunch of auto racks.
You know, and that by the way does talk to another really, really fun part about this is you get to operate a scale you're not necessarily in, an era, cars. It's a lot of fun.
It is. It is. I think operations is what, I've said this on the podcast, improves your hobby. You know, it makes you want to have your trains run better. What's Greg, we talk about this, what your switches run better, your DCC, couplers. Yeah. It's a self improvement type of investment in the hobby. The tough part is, as operators, and we'll all say, is that the investments we make, they're not flashy. We don't get to show the new heritage unit, but we do have a new box of Intermountain wheels, couplers, for boxing tracks.
Nobody knows when you spend, a weekend soldering feeder wires to everything.
No, but they sure appreciate it.
Yes.
Or hunting down an electrical shorter. Yeah. Weighing your cars to the correct weight. No one sees that. So,
the thing I always find about operations too is I've already spent all the money on the cars, the engines, the track, the buildings, and that. So to me, this is really, you may be able to make an argument against it, but it's the free part of the hobby.
Yeah.
You've already got everything else. The paperwork is pennies. Coming up with a scheme. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way, Greg, that you've spent all this money on these beautiful museum quality trains, engines, DCC sound. Now it's the free part, you know, run them around productively. And so, like, here's they talking about the dispatcher's office. It's available digitally. You remember, like I said, $10. You got digital issues. You can go look at them, download them. People post all how their layouts operate, how they changed, track plans. You can get a real good idea on different systems operated.
I have a question, actually.
Okay.
If I join the OpSig, do I get all the back issues as well?
If you go online,
No, that's what I meant. I meant online.
I don't know if the real old ones are on scanned yet. Maybe they can answer that.
I'm curious because I mean the OpSig, this is not a new thing. They've been around as long as Ken has been around.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
In fact, I had some of the absolute original ones, and I put them in a notebook and gave them all to Dave Hamilton because he's kind of the guru of that sort of stuff around here.
Yeah.
So
there you go, Greg. $10. You get, you know, what, 230 years? How old is Ken? Wait a minute.
Something like that. He's only 85. So
almost.
But
so I want to bring up this comment because this was a question asked last year that, and I appreciate this, whoever Facebook users, good evening, that they want to come and operate. But we kept getting asked is, can I sign up and come just look at the layouts? And we give you an empathetic no. We will have layout tours coming up in April. But if you're showing up, we're going to have you attempt to operate in some capacity. This is not for you to take pictures and visit and sit there. We want you to, we're trying to get spots for people who want to get involved.
Right. It's a hands-on thing. There's no sitting and just watching.
Right.
So
especially if you want to just sit and watch next to the M&M tray.
Yes. Or the donuts.
So now we got, you have to pay for that. I'm not sure if everything's online. It's like everything else that was paper and went online. I'm sure you can get.
Yeah, I think they meant if you have, once you sign up for membership, you have access to the online ones.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for, not the actual paper ones. But for
the culprit's in the chat now. You can see this over here. Look at this guy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Did you notice that Robert mentioned that Split Rock was in the last OpSig magazine? And trust me, everybody in the Twin Cities knows. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We know.
They do. They do.
I'm tired of driving over and dropping off a copy in my mailbox.
That's right. Hey, $20 is $20. Yeah. That poor Chris Palomero at Home Shops even knows now. That poor guy. So.
That's a story for another podcast.
Yeah. And operating is that's a big word, but it is that kind of sport. This is a participation sport, and you will get a participation trophy.
No, you won't.
Or ribbon.
You get a ribbon.
Or donut.
I'll take the donut.
We'll give you an online badge.
And I think, Ken, didn't you have some slides of some like operation sessions I was at, or Mike Jordan? You had some you could bring up.
Well, I do, but my clicker isn't working. Can you?
It isn't. Yeah, I can.
You can see that.
There
can
we
you
go.
put those in? There we go.
Well, these are railroad terms, right?
Yeah. So these are things you're going to learn when you're operating here, and so when you go back to make your joint, your conductor will say, "That'll do. Stretch them out." So that's one example. These are things you don't want to do.
Right. And that'll do means stop.
Yeah, that'll do a stop. Yeah.
Give them a stretch means they're testing to make sure they coupled and things like that. And so,
right.
And yep. Sydney puts here, it's a role-playing game. Dan Dosa had some of his nephews over, and his nephews, they were enjoying operations, and then they looked at him and go, this is like a historical reenactment.
Yeah.
My layout, you're doing a historical reenactment of 1969 in northern Minnesota. Greg's, it's the mid 80s in St. Louis. Ken's is, the 50s in Western Minnesota. So it's a historical reenactment of that day and stuff. So who's been to a session like this photo? Who's been there? Because
I thought this was from your job last night.
what might have been, I have new conductors now, so that's pretty much what they tell me when they say that'll do. My feet are usually pointing to the ceiling because I got rocked like that. And going to the Ren Fair. You should go to the Ren Fair with that. My wife loves the Renaissance Fest. And the Minnesota Renaissance Fest had a railroad running through it. It was kind of fun. The Chicago Northwestern there. And here we see a Northern Pacific. What's it, a cushion drawbar, Ken? Is that?
Yeah. And so when your conductor says, take them out easy, he means, take them out easy. Most of us have tuned down the acceleration rates, but I model an S scale, and so I remember the old American Flyer days when take them out easy meant bam, you just floored that AC transformer and got all the wheels spinning. So
That's right.
So remember that.
That's right. And to his credit, the engineer on this train got off on the investigation because he didn't break the knuckle. So this was a knuckle test. There was no knuckle to replace. His conductor couldn't get mad at him, but
I'm expecting a model of this to be made.
I think I'm waiting. Bob Rivard. I think William's here. Tell Bob Rivard we need a model of this and have it actually work. Maybe that would be good. All right.
And of course, be kind to your hosts. If there's an operational issue, make sure you tell them about it.
Yeah.
This is probably not the way you want to leave the cars when you leave, unless you're going to leave early.
Yeah. This is not you wanted to do some weathering and damage. This isn't it. So this is just these are some incidents. I don't even know how that could even happen.
I don't know how you would get that on a model railroad, let alone on the wheel.
Yeah, that would be. That'd be a good one. I think that might only happen at Joe's or something.
Yeah. Although I do have a picture that was taken in Fridley, Minnesota, when a tornado went through and laid a whole string of boxcars down.
Oh, were all the trucks still on the wheels? I've seen that. I've seen high winds because the trucks, they don't have a screw in the bottom like us.
Yeah.
Do, so.
And that's because it flopped them down. Yeah.
And Cindy says this. So, like, if you're scared, you're going to get a train that runs away. Most DCC system layouts, and William will back me up on this, and Greg, we've set, am I right on this? The speed curve, Greg, Ken, is that what it's called?
Yep.
To really slow. Dan Dosa has set his at glacier speeds, but momentum and things like that. So usually your train cannot get away from yourself. I've done that with mine because I have grandkids that how fast can it go is their favorite words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why they have a Shay for their Inglenook switching layout. But so don't worry about things like this. Like I said, if something derails, tell the host, we just want to know what it is so we can fix it so you can keep having a good time.
Right.
Right.
There should be no insults, no nothing. You might get a funny nickname.
Sure, and that's okay.
But sign up. It'll be,
Please.
the best money you can spend this spring, and you'll have stories to tell at the operators retreat or at the modelers retreat coming up.
Yep.
And, this is Mike George. Speed match to my capabilities. That's a good line.
It is. Yeah.
That goes on your. And as Mike enjoys more and more Ensign Morgan, his capabilities kind of go.
Well, his capabilities go down, but his own personal feeling about his capabilities are going up.
Right. It's kind of like that. Any other questions about this, about times or dates, or we've had people that can show up for one layout. If that's it, let us know.
Yep.
If like, hey, I can be there, but I got to take off after the first session. let us know.
Yeah,
It's
then we can
and
schedule
I-
around that.
yeah, we can schedule. I will tell you, as a layout owner, it's tougher when you tougher missing a person than having an extra person.
True.
Um,
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well,
layout
typically,
design big things.
so yeah, I mean, if I have one extra person, like typically my layout takes 3. If I have 4, then I can assign 2 guys to the auto plant job. And that's
Absolutely.
right, because there's
Oh,
there's
yeah.
plenty of work there to do, and there's plenty of space. But if I only have 2 guys show up, then I have to figure out, well, what's not going to run. You know, on something like Tom's layout, you know, if you're expecting a guy to bring ore down from the mine and he doesn't show up, the dock guy's not going to have much to do in the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
easier.
my layout's a play in 3 acts, and we need all actors. So
Yeah. Hey, but let's go back to Chris Bell for a second, asking us if we have any layout design sig things. I don't know.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
I
is
thought
he-
we had I thought we had aprons in our store.
No. Is he asking about, you know, this is sort of an
Oh, I get
is
it
this
now.
an OPSIG thing? So do we have like a layout design type of weekend?
We are working on that.
Okay.
We are working on that to have like a day, a clinic, maybe visit 2 or 3 layouts and show. Like we were going to open it up to, let's say, 10 people, 2 carloads, and we'd go visit 3 to 4 layouts that have specific design elements. We make fun of Mike Jordan, but his packing district is something that needs to be seen if you're designing a layout, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan Dosa's double level layout where the levels don't connect need to be seen, you know. Yeah, you know, guess who came up with that idea? But even like Greg's layout, that hey, I'm tired of these DPM structures that are the same size as the boxcar. How do you, here's how you design a layout for an automobile plant. How long is that automobile plant? That wall is
It's 28 feet.
28 feet long. Does anybody have one industry on their layout that's 28 feet long?
Yeah.
You know.
But
So we're looking at that day. Joe Biddish's alleys, you know.
yeah, that's another, you know, especially if you've got a small space, you know,
If you have a small space.
right?
So
You could
we
just-
are looking at that for people who want to design, and we can show you actual layouts that have embraced, you know, Williams Hiawatha district is another one,
Yeah.
you know.
But we did something along those lines a long time ago in Egan one time. It was almost like a modelers meet, but it was just around layout design. Everybody just brought their stuff and said, hey, you know,
Yeah.
I brought a track plan from my previous house and asked people, and people just came up and it's like, okay, what about this? Have you thought about this? And oh, I tried that. That was a terrible idea, you know. So that'd be a cool thing to do too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It'd be, then we could have a lunch somewhere and discuss it, you know, get our favorite room at Perkins or the Park Tavern and go over the pros and cons of layout design and how it's worked. Cause it's always designed it on paper, but if you get to talk to somebody who's operated it for a few years, you know, that's the real question. If you're designing, you go to somebody's house to operate and then ask the layout owner, what would you change?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You will get the greatest advice ever in model railroad design. You know.
Nobody
Yeah.
ever says build a helix.
Yeah, no, and
Or a duck
more
under.
duck unders.
More duck unders.
Yeah, that's the thing to do is. So yeah, we would like to touch all aspects of modeling. The modelers retreat is, you know, creating models and learning history and building. This is operations. We like to get into some layout design, and if anybody would like to share that up,
Yeah.
get a hold of me. Get a
Yeah.
hold of Ken.
Yep.
And we will give you all the tools necessary.
Yep. You mentioned the modelers retreat. We have had people bring their layout designs to the modelers retreat and bring along some extra scratch paper and then let people draw you ideas, because that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I think too, we have people, Greg and I and Dan Dosa talk about this a lot, where, you know, you can ask, say, I have this idea. Like we've been talking about the Cuyuna Range, Iron Ore Range.
Mhm.
Or you're talking, I want to model this. Instead of the usual, who has a track plan for a 10 by 12 room?
Yeah.
You know, tell us what railroad, what era, what location you want to model, and and how much space you have, and we can all work on that. I think there's a creative mind. Yes. And I will tell you this, tell him to bring his camera because he could probably make 30 videos from the layouts in the Twin Cities.
Yep. Yep.
We could, Greg and I and Ken could name them right now.
Absolutely.
CDC or DVD. I know this will make them video worthy layouts.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
from Jeff Otto's and Milt Spanton Spectacular.
Oh,
You know,
those are beautiful layouts.
beautiful layouts. You know, bigger than basement filling ones too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John O'Brien's, Ed Petrie's, their stuff. We have. I think we rival Kansas City. I've heard people say Kansas City is more, but I think that we're doing pretty good.
We're
And
doing
like
all
I said,
right.
the NMRA, yeah, the NMRA is, there's all these groups around. We just Twin Cities Division. We just want to be the hub and have North Metro and all these other groups, Fremos and the hobby shop, you know, just connect through us.
Yep.
We're not trying to take you over. We're not forcing you to join. We just want to be, we want to be here for you. So,
Yep. We
You're,
want you to want to join because we're fun.
you're the bench work of model.
yeah, we're basically us. Yeah, we're the bench work. Yeah. Yeah. Milt, there's another red dirt, his single industry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you want to show the programs, upcoming programs, Tom?
Absolutely. Here we go. You want to talk about them, Ken?
I do. Tonight, of course, is Greg Dahl. Next week, we're going to have Dave Menard and the Sawdust City Convention crew. They're going to be live in Dave's train man cave, and we'll show you a bunch of slides of what's going on at Sawdust City Days, just to kind of get your appetite up for what's going to be a phenomenal event, and that's in May. So you can plan on making it now. Come in Thursday, stay Friday, Saturday, and leave Sunday. We'll tell you all about it, but it's going to be just a phenomenal trip. Eau Claire's a beautiful town, and you'll love it. On the 7th, Joe Binish is going to give us a preview of the modelers meet, and we'll talk to you about the presentations that we're going to have, give you a little highlight of what they're all about. I don't know if Joe's going to have a schedule by then. He may, but you know, remember you're dealing with railroaders and real lives, so times can get changed a little bit. February 14th, rail fanning the North Metro Model Railroad Club. Tom and I went up there, and Tom did some just phenomenal rail fanning shots. So it's not a layout tour. It's as if you were sitting in Staples, Minnesota, and you were rail fanning all the different activity that came through there. Really, it's going to be great. On the 21st, Dan Cohen's going to talk about building with Craftsman structure kits, and that's a great teaser, because he is going to also be at the modelers meet showing you the structures he's made and giving you some tips on how he's done it. Now, Dan will tell you he's kind of a I don't know, would he say beginner, but he's not going to claim to be an expert, but he really is a good builder, and what he's doing is really digging in and building some great kits. But because he's doing it from the standpoint of being rather new at it, he's going to give you some tips that are really fantastic. On February 28th, we're going to have our season-ending celebration, and Tom is going out to the Springfield show, or whatever the official name is, this weekend to line up schmooze with these special guests. And so it's going to be a phenomenal time. It'll be a lot of fun. And that will wrap up our season for this year. Just our online season, but not our activity season. So check us out where it will tell you about them on the TCD NMRA Facebook page. We'll tell you about it on our web page, and we'll tell you about it on our YouTube page. So Crossing Gate Live, the past ones are all on the TCD NMRA Media YouTube channel. So take a look at that, and away you go. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, we got a lot planned, a lot of fun. It's sad we have to end in February, but you know, springtime comes and Minnesota, you know, we get the heat wave. It'll be up to at least 30 by then. So
Yep. Yep.
we'll be mowing our lawn.
That's right. Yeah, and you see the note there about the media's, our website's done a lot of upgrades. Damian Kostra has been taking care of that, and it's really fantastic. We went through a period of disuse with that, and it's really a lot of fun to see that up and running. So it's just another way for us to keep in touch with you.
Yeah. And so, like I said, if you have any questions, send them to that email about the operators retreat. If you have anything about the modelers retreat, you can send them to her too. We will, if we don't have an answer, we'll find someone who does. If they don't have an answer, we'll make something up.
That's
So,
right.
I think with that, we're going to thank you all. Wonderful. We had over 40 people. We had people from all states. Sydney, thank you for checking in from California. We got South Dakota. I don't know if the Australians made it today, but I saw some Wisconsinites, and Randy jumped in here. And Greg, you got anything to wrap up your first operators retreat with?
Nope, it's simple to sign up. Just send an email to the TCD address. We'll take care of everything else in there. I've contacted the people who already signed up just to let them know. But you know, we obviously have to close it at some point, because then we're going to have to schedule who goes where, and you know, try to keep people's driving down. So the sooner you get signed up, the sooner we can get everybody squared away here.
Yep. Then Greg can contact you on if you have any wishes or druthers or whatever.
Right.
We'll let you know if houses have stairs and if they have pets and things like that too. So the usual stuff. Ken, you got anything else?
Nope. It's been more fun than a guy should be able to have with his shoes on.
I think it is. So we'll see you. Say goodnight. We'll see you next week. Hopefully I'll survive Massachusetts. And appreciate your time, Greg. Good night, everybody.
Right. Thanks, Greg. Yep. Good night, everybody.